The sport is sponsored by Rapid Radio's Padres back in action in Washington tomorrow at 3:45 in the afternoon, taking on the Nationals, bringing a record of 38-58. Dylan Cease will be going for the Padres, while the Nationals have not decided on their pitcher and chief star wide receiver, Rashee Rice, sentenced to 30 days of jail time in the NFL. Now will be making a decision on his suspension. Rapid Radio's instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com. You'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get extra 5% off.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday. What up, everybody? Welcome in. My name is Ben Fletcher. That is Sammy Long. We are going to be with you until 2 o'clock today. John and Jim live from Las Vegas will take over. Then we got a busy one for you today on the least busy day on the sports calendar. But Shane Gillis last night was hysterical. He stole the sports scene from everybody for 2.5 hours, and he honestly knocked it out of the park. We'll react to last night's ESPYs in a big way, which are words that have never, ever come out of my mouth. I want to make that very clear. Like Peyton Manning did an okay job a couple times. Shane Gillis put everyone outside of Ricky Gervais to shame with what he did last night. We got a bunch of wide receivers causing an absolute mess in the NFL. Padres get back on the diamond tomorrow. And Sammy Long, did you get kicked out of another men's league basketball game last night, or was yesterday drama free for you?
Yesterday was drama free, but we'll see Tuesday night when we're back at it. We'll see if we can go 2 for 2.
How many technicals can you rack up in a single season? That's what I really want to know.
I had a few last season, and then got kicked out of yesterday's game. But I feel like I was justified because he was making fun of groups of people that I don't feel like should be made fun of.
That's Sammy. He's just a justice warrior. That's what he is.
I stayed up for the everyman. That's what I say.
All right, we got a couple guests coming on the show today. 2 pretty good ones, I like to think. Rich Ohrnberger coming up at 12:30. Rich and I got into this conversation this morning talking about the situation that's going on in Major League Baseball with the looming holdout, which is coming up in December of 2026. With salaries. And Rich has a really unique point of view on all of this that I would love to share with everybody because he changed my mind a little bit this morning. And plus, we'll get into some NFL news and notes with the big man himself. He did play in the NFL. Just ask him. And then coming up at 1:30, Coach Kentera is jumping on the show for our regular Thursday appointment. We're going to get ready for the second half of Padres baseball with the coach coming up at 1:30 today. So make sure you have all that written down. Make sure you know all the appointments that are coming up today, as we'll be getting into it all over the next couple of hours. Sammy, you want to start real quick with some Shane Gillis from last night?
That's what I want to get to.
Because he was amazing. He really was.
He was fantastic. In Texas, 70470, start your message with team. Again, 70470, start your message with team, what you thought of it. Shane Gillis was fantastic. As someone who is a big fan of comedy, Fletch, I know you are as well. I love that Shane Gillis stayed true to his guns. He did his set. That is something that he would do. He didn't make it all PC. He didn't tone it down for the crowd. The crowd was not having it, but that was the Ricky Gervais model. As you mentioned earlier, Ricky Gervais played to the people at home, and the people in the room wouldn't like it. People would stay away from the Golden Globes. It's like, you're all rich and famous. You have everything you want. You can take a few jokes. I got to say, Lamar Jackson, my respect for him has gone through the roof. He was laughing a lot. Terrell Owens was laughing a lot. Hell, Tyler Glasnow was having the time of his life sitting next to Lamar. But people were oddly like pissed off at him in that room.
Well, he started it off by putting every single person in the room at blast with a little bit of a blanket statement. So if you don't know who Matt McClusker is Shane Gillis's podcast co-host on Matt and Shane's Secret Pod, which is hysterical. I've listened to it a few times. But Matt McClusker wife was sitting right next to him at the ESPYs last night. And so Shane Gillis opens the whole thing up by saying, and how honored are we to have Brittany Hicks here, who is a 4-time All-Star in the WNBA, blah, blah, blah. And everybody, to a person in that room, they damn near almost gave her a standing ovation. And he was like, no, I'm kidding. That's my best friend's wife. But I knew all of you didn't know any WNBA players. So he immediately starts by calling out every single person in the room. And then he gets into his jokes, and nobody was safe. Deshaun Watson got roasted. Shohei Ohtani got roasted.
Did you see Freddie Freeman laugh at the Ohtani interpreter joke?
That was crazy. He went political with it. He roasted Trump for having a fight on the White House lawn in the UFC, which I actually think could potentially be pretty cool. He roasted everybody. Nobody was safe from him. And everybody in that crowd took it so poorly.
Dude,
what a bunch of babies.
Dude, the Belichick joke, he said when he reads his girlfriend is a bookie at night.
A bookie every night. And then, dude, he honestly called everybody out again. He was like, why is everyone getting mad at a 73-year-old for dating a hot 24-year-old? Maybe if you won 6 Super Bowls, you could do the same thing.
Dude, it was just, I just love that he did his set. Like, this is something that Shane Gillis didn't, because I was curious. I'm like, Shane Gillis does not fit the mold of traditionally, like, Ricky Gervais was the guy the Globes had every year, and they would always depress and be like, oh, we don't like it, but secretly they'd love it because everyone would tune in who doesn't care who wins Best Supporting Actress or whatever, blah, 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 because they want to see these guys get roasted. And then they went to very kind of, backhand compliment jokes that are kind of dumb. But I love that Shane Gillis kept it like it was and just eviscerated everyone.
I'm going to give Disney a lot of credit here because Disney for sure went to him beforehand and said, look, the people in the room are not going to take this well. You're going to be dealing with a bunch of egotistical athletes who will not take these jokes well, but you're not doing it for the people in the room. You're doing it for everybody watching at home. And how refreshing was that to get somebody who didn't care what everyone thought? And yeah, some of the jokes might have pushed the boundary. The 9/11 joke was a little not cool.
That's a 760. Said, yeah, the celebs didn't like it, but man, it's great to see some of the athletes not take it too seriously. The 9/11 joke might have been too far, but didn't really land.
I agree. Who was that? Was that 760 you said?
Yeah.
Maybe that joke pushed it a little too far, but you know what? It's comedy. So it has a pass a little bit in my head. And I thought the whole thing was so funny and so well done by Shane Gillis. It's crazy that the best thing that ever happened to that person was getting canceled. Because, man, his career's taken off since then.
Well, it's cool when, to that point about comedy, like, yeah, there's some jokes that people might go, that's too far, or but that's the point of it's not funny when everyone accepts it. It's funny when comedy pushes boundaries and you're talking about taboo subjects that most people go, oh, you don't bring that up at the Thanksgiving table with the whole family. That's what I'm glad he stayed true to who he was. I liked it. I thought the Sirianni, the tush push sketch was pretty funny.
The tush push was hysterical. What's that guy's name? Drewski? It was him and Drewski doing the whole tush push thing and how that got created. Then to Nick Sirianni's credit, because when Shane went down afterwards and sat down right next to him and like interviewed him about it, Nick Sirianni played into it.
He was fun. He went with it.
He was funny. We've never give Nick Sirianni credit. There's some credit, Nick. You were very, very fun last night. All right, I'm sure we'll get back to that later in the show. Plus, like the biggest story in the world right now, unless you're living under a rock, is the fact that a CEO of an AI company got caught cheating on his wife with his head HR person.
Oh,
the internet can be a ruthless place if you're doing something wrong in public.
Okay, we're going to get to that later, but I have some thoughts on that.
I do too. In fact, I spent the first 5 hours of my day today talking about that, and so we can get to that a little bit later on too. But it's time for the Big Three. Sammy Long's going to take us through the top stories in the world of sports. We got wide receivers just causing a mess in the NFL. Let's get to it. Sammy, smash the button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
If you would like to watch the show, we got 2 ways for you to do it. First way is on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. That stays live from 12 all the way to 6. John and Jim take it over right after we get off. Paris on YouTube saying, good afternoon, guys. Looking forward to seeing Big Rich again. Rich is going to be jumping on the show at 12:30. And Tyler saying Shane was fantastic last night. Dude, Shane Gillis was on another planet last night. Sammy, where we starting?
Okay, so as you mentioned, receivers kind of all over the place. My guy, Rashee Rice, sentenced to 30 days in jail, 5 years probation for his crash a year and a half ago in Texas. So the NFL will be ruling disciplinary action here soon. Jordan Addison had another. Did he have a DUI?
Yeah, it was a DUI last year, I think in LA, like right outside the airport.
So Jordan Addison, and then Mike Williams just retired as of literally 45 minutes ago from the Chargers. Which loss of receiver is the worst for their team in their quarterback?
So it's not Rashee Rice, even though you would think that he's the best receiver of the three. It is Jordan Addison. That is the biggest loss because you're dealing with a basically rookie quarterback coming in JJ McCarthy. So depending on how long Jordan Addison's going to be out, we don't have that answer yet. The NFL, now that the courts have decided, the NFL can make their own punishment. But if Jordan Addison misses, let's say 6 games next year, because it's either going to be 8 or 4 probably, so cut that in half, let's say 6. If he misses 6 games next year, that's 6 games that JJ McCarthy is looking to inferior wide receivers to try to help him along through his rookie season, which is essentially what this is. It's his first year starting. That's a big loss for you, especially when you got a speedster on the outside who Jordan Addison is a fantastic contested ball catcher. He's also a really great route runner, all things that you need in a first-year quarterback. And JJ McCarthy missing him, that's going to be rough for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with, so Rashee Rice, it hurts. The Chiefs have a deep receiving core with Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and you're seeing Royals, who they're projecting going to be really good out of Utah State that they drafted. It sucks in terms of me being a Chiefs fan and the fact that the schedule is tough to open up. You got the Chargers, you got Philly. He's probably going to at least be out 4 games. So the first 4 games, he's not going to be there. That's a tough stretch, but you'd rather have him at the end. I agree with you on your point about Jordan Addison, that sucks for JJ McCarthy, because that's kind of the secret sauce with Justin Jefferson is he's so lethal, but you have another good receiver.
And Addison's going into year 3. You got to imagine this is going to be his best yet.
Addison's a good player. But Mike, if you're a Charger fan, and I know San Diego, you either hate the Chargers or you still like them. I mean, this is a colossal failure because Devontae Adams, the number one thing that you needed was a receiver, was a pass catcher, because the only guy that could catch the football consistently last year was Ladd McConkey, who looks like he's going to be a really good player. Well, you pass on Devontae Adams, who clearly wanted to go to L.A. because he went to the Rams. You didn't pay the money. You draft Trey Harris in the second round out of Ole Miss, who all we hear about is he's the best receiver against man coverage coming into the draft. Well, he's holding on to camp right now because there's some contract negotiation things that are happening. And then your thing to solve all this was to get Mike Williams, who now just retired. And the Chargers, they have a good offensive line. They have a good quarterback. They have a good coach. But at some point, you have to have someone to go catch the ball. If you're going to go into Kansas City, if you're going to go into Buffalo or Baltimore or Cincinnati and go beat these teams, you have to be able to put points up on the road. And if Ladd McConkey's the only guy there, the Chargers' hope is that Trey Harris has the same kind of level of production that Ladd McConkey has. And that might be a little unreasonable to expect because
you're trying to move Ladd to the wide receiver 1, and I still don't really think he is. He's a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, he's really a slot guy.
With what you're saying about Mike Williams, it's not like he was a savior coming in. Mike Williams has had plenty of time in the NFL to prove that he is better than a wide receiver 3, and he really hasn't so far. So I don't know how much you're missing with not having him. It's just a big body target that would have been nice to have.
Yeah, I don't know what the Chargers are going to do at the receiver spot because it feels like Harbaugh trying to be so about the O-line and D-line. That's great. You want to build from the inside out, but at some point you have to have people to go catch the ball. And I don't see that the Chargers have enough people to catch the ball. This comes after Najee Harris is going to be out through camp because of the firework accident. So I don't know where they're going with offense.
All right, we got time for one more. Let's squeeze it in.
Yes, Mary Kay Cabot. So the Browns are starting camp today. It says Shador has a real chance to win the starting job with camp opening today. This obviously comes after Dylan Gabriel was taken before him in the draft. Kenny Pickett's there. And Deshaun Watson. Fletch, do you believe this? Do you think he'll be starting at some point this season? Do you think he'll open as the starter? What do you think?
I don't think he opens as the starter. I think I've been saying for a while now that Joe Flacco is going to start the season as the starter. And that would be the smart thing to do for Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, Joe Flacco, too.
Now, Cleveland, not always the smartest franchise. We've seen that multiple times, especially over the last few years. But I think if they were smart, they give Joe Flacco the start, let him take the bruises up early because it's not like they have a great offensive line, and really ease Shador or Gabriel into this because Cleveland, you haven't done well, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, with just throwing a guy straight into the fire. So if you can really try to ease someone who's going to have media attention galore, if you put him out there week 1 and he struggles, you might break Shador forever. So I would say slow play it as much as possible. It's not like you're a playoff team this year anyways. Let Joe Flacco take the bruises early. Let him essentially finish his career like a lamb for slaughter, which is unfortunate to think about, but really slow play it with Shador. I say week 6.
I think that's what's going to happen. If I was running the Browns, I would throw Shador in there immediately or Gabriel because what's the point of – it's not like Joe Flacco's the future of your franchise. Kenny Pickett's young, but I don't think Kenny Pickett's shown us enough to realistically expect that he's going to be some franchise-altering quarterback. He had ample opportunity in Pittsburgh to be that, and he wasn't that guy. At least with Gabriel or Shador, and your thing is Shador has the higher ceiling. If you take away the whole Deion's his dad, all the rumors about the draft process before, not liking it. I mean, Shador does have upside. I would throw him out there. I would play both him and Gabriel. See if you have anything, because chances are the Browns are going to be picking towards the top of the class next year. It's supposed to be a really good quarterback class. We're assuming Arch is going to be really good. The guy at Mississippi State, there's like 5 or 6 quarterbacks. Carson Beck will be coming out next year. That could be legit starters in next year's class. I'd see what you have. I just don't know what Joe Flacco does for a team that I don't think is going to be in contention. So might as well see what you have.
He lets you slow play it, and I think that could be good for a young quarterback. All right, coming up next, let's get into some wide receivers in the NFL who are actually going to be on the field. We could speculate all we want about the suspensions coming for Rashee Rice and Jordan Addison, but what receiver is going to have that breakout season this year? Let's talk about it coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. The iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances from Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets now at AXS.com. Get them before they sell out. All right, we got the Open going on out in golf. It's in Northern Ireland at Royal Portrush. And leaderboard's got some familiar names on it. Hopefully it stays that way through the weekend. But Scotty Scheffler is tied right now for second place at 3 under par after those viral comments a little bit earlier. Ricky Fowler with a nice opening round, 2 under through his first round. That's good to see. And
how about Phil?
Yeah, Phil played great today, kind of out of nowhere. But now I'm not seeing him on the leaderboard. What did he finish up at?
I didn't see him finish up on. I saw it on the headline this morning. He had some great open, his best start since 2016.
Yeah, he might have fallen apart unless I already scrolled past his name, but I hadn't watched for the last hour and a half or so. But yeah, it's a fun tournament so far. It looks like the conditions are brutal. I saw Bryson DeChambeau really struggling out of some of the thick stuff. Phil finished at 1 under par for the day. Shot a 70. That's really good for Phil. Tied for 20th right now with a bunch of other guys who are also 1 under. But fun tournament so far. The course is playing tough. The weather is insane. They've had rain. They've had wind. It's very much so Northern Ireland golf. All right, let's get into some wide receivers in the NFL. So if you missed the news, Rashee Rice was sentenced this morning. He's the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver who year 2 last year got cut short by an ACL after a really impressive rookie season. This was going into year 3, and I think there's a lot of expectations around him. He was sentenced to 5 years probation and 30 days of served jail time, which can take place, I believe, at any point over the next 5 years.
Yeah, anytime.
So Rashee Rice in a little bit of trouble. And now that the courts have done their sentencing, the NFL is on the clock essentially to make whatever determination they make. It could be 4 games, could be 8 games. We've seen precedent for both.
I mean, he said he was sorry.
Okay, is that all it takes, Sammy? Chiefs fan?
I think we believe in second chances.
Well,
here
let's reset what he did, and you can tell me how sorry he actually needs to be. So this was 2 years ago now. Rashee Rice was involved in an accident on a freeway out in Texas that ended up being a 7-car accident. He was in a rented Lamborghini. He had some marijuana in the trunk of said rented Lamborghini.
Perfectly legal in California.
Not in Texas, which is where he was. And he also got up and fled the scene. Like he walked away from this.
Not our finest moment.
So there's lots of speculation that he could have been under the influence of said marijuana at the time. A lot of maybe he did the best thing for his future career by walking away from the scene at that moment. But either way, it's a really, really bad look. And not to mention 7 cars. That's multiple lives that have been impacted. He was extremely lucky that nobody died in this accident. So just saying sorry, I don't know if that's quite enough, Sammy. It actually feels like the legal system did the right thing here. And maybe he even got off a little bit easy. But 30 days that he's going to have to serve in the jail. Obviously, he'll be able to do that during the offseason of the NFL. Feels like maybe a little special privilege for a Super Bowl winning wide receiver, but also the 5 years of probation. So the NFL is going to have to come down hard on him. They're going to have to make an example. I would imagine they got precedent to make this an 8-game suspension. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but if that goes into effect this year, the Chiefs are going to be out without their best wide receiver for potentially 8 games.
I don't know about 8 games.
It could be.
I mean, I just will like this is all seriousness. You don't
think it's bad enough?
No, I'm saying like he didn't beat his girlfriend. Like Ray Rice got what, 4? I mean, we've seen the videos of
a long time ago though.
Domestic violence. Like yeah, it was a dumb thing. He was
it's weird to talk about domestic violence like this, but Kareem Hunt was the latest big suspension, right? And that was 8 games.
Yeah, he got 8 games. So like, I mean, obviously he messed up. It was a dumb thing to do. You don't drive that fast and put other people's lives in danger. But yeah, I wouldn't be. I bet it'd be like 4, 6. Fletch, I know you mentioned 8. Maybe he gets pled down, but yeah, the Chiefs will be without him for at least a quarter of the season.
And on the football field, which is really all I'm interested in talking about, that hurts the Chiefs in a big way. It really does. And it doesn't kill Mahomes like it would kill some other quarterbacks, but it does hurt the Chiefs because Rashee Rice is a ridiculously productive wide receiver. Now, Jordan Addison's the other one. We talked about it a little bit in the first segment of the show today. He's a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. He's the wide receiver 2, obviously, with Justin Jefferson being wide receiver 1. Jordan Addison got a DUI last year in LA. And so Jordan Addison this morning, he pled guilty to a lesser charge than they were originally going after. But I would imagine DUI, he's going to find or see a suspension from the league as well. And that's brutal for the Vikings because JJ McCarthy, essentially a rookie quarterback. He's in year 2, but year 1 of playing has the fate of the franchise on his shoulders right now.
Okay, so what receiver do you think is going to break out this year, though?
What receiver? That's the fun one. I got eyes on a couple of them actually because I've been doing my fantasy prep so far.
Yeah, we're getting close.
We're like right there. So I actually think this could be the year. And remember, this guy's career has been kind of interrupted by a suspension of his own, which came from gambling. This could be the year we see Amon-Ra St. Brown take wide receiver 2 duties for the Detroit Lions, and Jameson Williams, who is a speedster, who is like 6'3", who I think is an absolute stud, takes over wide receiver 1 duties in Detroit. Wow. Jameson Williams breakout, book it.
I think Jameson Williams is going to break out. I don't think he's going to take his job from Amon-Ra because of how much they're paying Amon-Ra.
Yeah, but Amon-Ra is about to be double covered on every single. He already is, and he's that good. And Jameson Williams is going to be wide open over the top.
So Lions, I like that pick. I think Zay Flowers for the Ravens
not bad.
Is a guy that. I mean, let's not forget 2 years ago when they played the Chiefs in the AFC title game. I mean, Zay Flowers was completely breaking out. Had a little bit, I believe he got injured for a little bit last year. The Ravens have really been looking for a number 1 receiver. Like Lamar, when people want to bag Lamar, like Lamar's never really had a number 1 receiver. There's been a lot of like complementary pieces. Rashad Bateman's the guy that everyone keeps waiting to break out because he has like the measurables. But I mean, Mahomes had number 1 receivers. Allen's had number 1 receivers. Joe Burrow certainly has had number 1 receivers. Lamar's never had a number 1. It'd be interesting to watch Lamar Jackson if he did get that. I don't think a number 1 receiver on the Ravens is going to put up the same kind of elite level numbers that other top tier quarterbacks because they run the ball so much. But Flowers has the ability to take his game to the next level.
Here, we got like 2 minutes. Let's just go back and forth rapid fire real quick. How about Brian Thomas Jr. with the Jags?
Well, he's going to be lethal because Trevor Lawrence can be fun
Rapid fire,
in fantasy.
Sammy. We're throwing names out there. Let's go.
Yeah, Brian Thomas. He's going to be lethal with Travis Hunter.
Give me a name.
Nico Collins.
Xavier Worthy.
Yes. Well, we'd love to see that.
I had to say.
I'm going to
you
give
have
you
to say
one.
the Niners one. I said the Chiefs
Ricky
one.
Pearsall could be a nice.
Ricky Pearsall was filthy the last 5
But
weeks.
you think so? You were telling me you think Jawan Jennings is going to be there?
Jawan Jennings is going to be there because they need him. Kyle Shanahan's offense doesn't work without a wide receiver who can block, and he's the best one they got. Especially with Debo leaving, they're going to pay Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, God, I can't wait for fantasy.
How about Xavier Leggett? Is that the guy with the voice?
Leggett from for the Panthers?
Panthers?
Yeah,
Dude, that guy is huge.
Yeah, that would be that'd be interesting because Bryce Young's a guy that I think is gonna it's.
Are we gonna see the Bryce Young from the last 4 weeks of the season last year, or the dude from the first year and a half of his career?
And this goes back to my point about the Browns. It's like Bryce Young, we saw the last half of last season become what we thought he was going to be at the number 1 overall pick. But we're all still thinking the Panthers are probably finishing towards the top of the draft, just like the Browns. So if Bryce Young is good, but they have the 3rd overall pick in the draft, are they taking a quarterback? Same with the Browns. Like, why not throw Shador out there? Why not throw Dylan Gabriel out there? See what you have, because it's not like the Browns or the Panthers are going to be competing for the number 1 seed in NFC and AFC.
I got another one. Tank Dell, Houston, if he gets healthy. I don't know at what point, because he tore his ACL
That's
late.
why I didn't get the Stephon Diggs thing last year. It's like, why are you have young receivers? Why are you
Nico Collins is like my favorite wide receiver to watch in football right now. And Tank Dell, I think, is sick. He's a speedster. Who was the guy in Cincinnati you were talking about?
Yoshi Voss. That's a guy who was
wide receiver 3 going to be left open a lot this year.
Completely buried because of Higgins and Chase. That's why I didn't like the Higgins signing. It's like you have a young player in Yoshi Voss that's coming up. Why are you paying all this money to Higgins? But I guess it keeps Burrow happy.
Well, all the wide receivers are getting in trouble, so one of those guys is bound to hit. You're welcome, fantasy football players. All right, Big Rich Ohrnberger coming up next. We'll talk some football. We'll talk some baseball with the big fella. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Gary Cooper at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Give the team a call today, 858-376-1299. Consumer beware has been the theme of the week. Gary, you got another example for us?
I do, and it's kind of along the same lines as before. You know, you got these lenders out there all over the place toting how they have quick mortgage loans. And I tell you what, if it's too quick, there might be a reason why. So consumer beware. But I'll give you one example. I have the documentation. I could definitely prove it. Unfortunately, I just can't name names on the air. But as an example, my client came back to me after he'd been bombarded by this one lender. He's looking for a $275,000 second. They quote him on that a 8.25% interest rate on a 20-year fixed at $2,138 as a monthly payment, whereas I came in at 7.20. Monthly payment is $2,165. The APR, which they don't quote, I do, 7.261. This is based on 781 credit score, 63% loan to value, single family house, and you're saving with my quote $178.18. So be aware of all these ads and also being hit up by all these lenders blowing up your phone and emails.
Consumer beware. Call Gary Cooper today, 858-376-1299. Visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com and maybe save some money while you're at it. Call Gary today. Hey,
This board is sponsored by Rapid Radios, the British Open, or the Open, which is going out. Royal Portrush. Matt Fitzpatrick is currently number 1 on the leaderboard. Scotty Scheffler is -3 on the day, at tied for number 6. And the Padres back in action tomorrow in Washington at 3:45 in the afternoon. Dylan seems to be going for the Padres, while the Nationals have not decided. Padres are currently -160 on the money line. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, get an extra 5% off.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then from the Las Vegas Mountain West Media Days. AM radio helps keep vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates do apply. We're expected to be joined by the big fella, Big Rich Ohrnberger, any second now. But while we're waiting for him, Sammy, a couple more thoughts on the Shane Gillis thing. Actually, this text from the 615 is hilarious. Scotty Scheffler, 1 stroke back from the top. He must be feeling miserable being way up there at the top.
So depressed, man.
You got to feel bad for the guy. Yeah, we really do feel so bad for Scotty Scheffler because it's not fulfilling to, be competing in majors.
For those who don't understand that text, this comes after a couple days ago where he basically said in the presser leading up to the Open that he doesn't really feel fulfilled by golf and has to ask himself when he plays the Masters in these events, like, why do I want to win?
It's not fulfilling enough. It's like, obviously it's not that important, which fine, Scotty, you could think it, don't say it, dude. And then go out there and beat everybody's ass on the course.
Yeah. Watch Scotty be like, yeah, I don't really care about golf. And then just go win this thing and just keep winning majors.
A lot of people had that problem with Brooks Koepka when, remember, like back-to-back US Opens, he won. This was 5 or 6 years ago now. But Brooks Koepka was saying, yeah, I mean, I don't really like golf that much. I'm just really good at it. Everyone's like, well, dude, you keep winning majors, so why are you saying that?
That's weird. That's like when, like in college football, Carson Beck, who's now at Miami, was from Georgia. Remember when he had that presser and he's like, yeah, I don't watch football. They're like, what do you mean I don't watch football? He's like, I don't watch other teams. I don't watch the NFL. Like that just, like it's your prerogative. Maybe you're just great at it, but that feels a lot like, to me, Aaron Rodgers, Anthony Davis. I think some of the problem is some of these guys are so talented at a sport that it's like, hey, you should play it because you're so much better than everyone. But do you have that killer drive to like Michael Jordan loved basketball and breathed basketball. Kobe Bryant was the same way. So Tiger was the same way about golf. I mean, there's guys who like breathe it and there's some guys that are just very talented at it. And I feel like you see a little bit difference. And I wonder where Scotty falls on that.
It is funny you say you draw that comparison to Aaron Rodgers, because when I was watching that clip from Scotty when he was at the podium ahead of the Open, I did think, wow, this is a little Aaron Rodgers-y, but I didn't want to make that comparison because obviously they're two very different people. Scotty's also at the top of likability before he said those words.
Yeah.
He was couldn't be higher because you see the hugs and the kisses that he gives his wife after the round, his young kids running out onto the green. You're thinking this is the most likable guy in the sport right now, and he happens to be winning the most. And then he goes and says that, and he really ticked a lot of people off. And I get it, man. It's tough when you bust your ass to not make very much money to see a guy who plays a game for a living making millions. He just crossed over the $100 million mark, by the way. Say something like that about his job. Well, it's tough.
I think the difference is some guys are like, hey, I want to make money doing this. And if that's the case, then yeah, if you're Scotty, you're like, I have endorsement deals forever. I'm a champion at Masters. I'm major champion. So I'm set in that regard. And then there's some guys that are like, I want to be great.
All right. It looks like we are going to get the big fella, Rich Ohrnberger, on the phone here. And I'm glad we are, because Rich and I had this conversation this morning about the Major League Baseball and how they're headed for a lockout, which is coming up most likely in 2026. December 1st is when the current collective bargaining agreement goes away. And Rich, if you're there and you can hear us, you really did change my mind a little bit, because initially I was thinking, the players are going to drag their feet through this one, the players, and I was sort of putting more blame on the players. But you had an interesting perspective on this. I wonder if you've thought any differently over the last couple hours. Hi, Rich.
Hey, good afternoon, you guys. Apologize, it was a little difficult to track me down. I ended up eating a sandwich instead of talking to you, if I'm being perfectly honest.
That is the most Rich Ohrnberger thing ever. So, baseball is heading towards another lockout most likely, but as a person, you were in the NFL Players Association. What do you think the relationship is like between the baseball players and the owners at this point?
Well, I think it's frayed. I think it has been for a long time. I also think that the players have, look, they have their gripes and they're warranted to a greater or lesser extent, and so do the owners. I think that any good partnership or any good negotiation leaves two sides satisfied and dissatisfied. And if both sides feel that way, that means that nobody's getting taken advantage of. Right now, the owners are trying their best to paint the players as the guilty parties here. And I remember this is what happened with the NFL lockout, which means that it was the owners' labor action to disallow the players to come to work so that they could strike a better deal for the owners against the players in a collective bargaining agreement. And that was a collective bargaining agreement at the time of unprecedented length. This was during the preseason prior to the 2011 season. And a 10-year contract was signed, and it was the longest in NFL history. And we got completely taken advantage of because our leadership on the union side wasn't strong enough to stand up to the owner's requests, and ended up really taking a deal that has had ramifications for the NFL players. I don't want to steer too far from the question, though, about the Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement and this impending lockout. I think the war is going to be fought on the salary cap front. The owners are going to look to cap players, and they're going to blame the players for these bloated salaries. But here's the problem. Who's paying those salaries? Owners. Like, it's so hard for me to hear a single argument from owners, or I should say a conglomerate of owners, complaining about the competitiveness of their league when it's them who are writing the checks. People forget that the players are employees of these leagues. The owners own the leagues. Like Major League Baseball, when we say MLB, when we're talking about Commissioner Manfred is the commissioner of baseball, which is ran by the 30 owners who own those franchises. So anytime they're complaining about the fact like, oh, these players are so greedy. Well, the players are greedy spending your money because they're your employees. I mean, and no other business works this way, where you say, hey, I want the top lawyer in the country working at my practice. Right? Hey, I want the top doctor working at my practice. But we're gonna get him, and we're just gonna pay him less than the market says he's worth. Well, no, that's not gonna work, because he's not gonna leave his private practice, or he's not gonna leave his law firm to jump ship on, the path he already has been walking, or she has been walking, to join your firm or your practice. You have to pay him more. You have to pay her more. And that should be the same thing in football and basketball. Unfortunately, those sports are capped, and that's the way it is right now in baseball. But the owners hate it because, players like Shohei Ohtani will be worth, $1 billion one day, and they can't stomach it.
Rich, switch over to football real quick. I saw a question the other day that Fletch and I were debating. The 2020 NFL draft class, QB draft class with Hurts and Tua, Burrow, Jordan Love, and Herbert. Someone was saying on First Take that they think that was the best quarterback draft class the last 25 years. I know you played alongside Rivers and, played against Eli and Big Ben. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think 2020 is the best draft class in the last 25 years or no?
I think it's arguably the best. I mean, if you really think about it, in terms of the top talent taken at the position, so like the value that these teams received from gambling high picks on those players, they received the value. I mean, Hurts is a Super Bowl champion. Tua is a playoff performing quarterback. You said Mahomes was a part of that class, right?
No, Burrow, Herbert, and Jordan Love.
Oh, that's right. Love. I mean, it remains to be seen if he's going to pan out and turn into, one of these elite level quarterbacks. But I think there's still potential for him to grow there. Same thing with Herbert. He's already appeared in a playoff game. That was an embarrassing loss in the second half. But, I think he's a super talent. And Burrow, I mean, Burrow's already won an AFC championship against the dynasty that exists right now in the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though his team had a down year last year, he absolutely shined. I mean, if he was on a 10-win team last year, he wins MVP. There's no doubt about it. His stats soared above any other of his contemporaries in the league last year. He just played on a team with such a crummy defense. Every game was a shootout. So yeah, I think I can support that argument. I think that draft class might be the best in the past quarter century.
All right, let's talk some Chargers real quick before we get you out of here, Rich, because I think there is a lot of pressure on both Harbaugh and Herbert heading into this year. Because like you said, Herbert's been to a playoff game and it was a disaster with Jacksonville coming all the way back to win it. So how much is on the Chargers right now, who, by the way, just lost a wide receiver in Mike Williams? He retired as of today after dealing with another injury. So how much pressure is on both Herbert and Harbaugh heading into this year to not only make some noise in the AFC West, but maybe progress further in the postseason than either of them have with the Chargers?
I believe that there is a good amount of pressure on Harbaugh. However, I would say less so than other coaches. Look, I understand the NFL means not for long, and typically with certain franchises, that's the case. Harbaugh, I believe, signed a 6-year contract when he signed with the Chargers. And that contract, he will, I promise you, he will live out almost every single day. And here's the reason why. That contract is fully guaranteed. The Chargers are not going to fire Jim Harbaugh early in this contract. This isn't going to be like a Mark Davis situation where, you know, they fired Gruden and owed him, you know, $70 million or something like that. No. The Chargers aren't going to do that. I mean, they just aren't. They're going to see this through until the bitter end because they don't want to be on the hook paying a coach guaranteed money and then be paying another coach on top of that. So I think Harbaugh has a lot more leash than a lot of these head coaches around the NFL. In terms of Herbert has as long as Harbaugh's patience holds out. And I would say he's going to be obscenely patient with Herbert because he's arguably the most talented quarterback he's ever worked with in the history of his head coaching career. I mean, if you go back and you really think about who Jim Harbaugh has worked with, I mean,
come on, Alex Smith. I don't like this.
He turned Kaepernick into something. He turned Alex Smith into something and then was able to deal him off to Kansas City. And then Andy Reid was able to turn him into a proficient playoff quarterback. JJ McCarthy at Michigan. I mean, it's kind of been a bunch of also rans at the position. I think that Justin Herbert is the most talented guy he's ever coached. I don't think he's going to give up on him anytime soon. And so, I mean, is there pressure? Yeah, sure. There's always pressure in the NFL. But I think less so with Harbaugh and Herbert than a lot of other QB coach combos around the league.
Rich, that better been in one hell of a sandwich.
Man, I'll tell you what, there was jalapenos on it. I was sweating. I still have the sauce on my t-shirt. I mean, when you guys called, I was in the middle of a bite. I'm like, well, I'll answer on the last ring because I really want to finish this bite.
I'll see you tomorrow, dude. Enjoy the remnants of the sandwich and we'll chat tomorrow.
Much appreciated. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Big Rich. We love him too. We're going to get to long shots coming up next. I genuinely have no idea where Sammy's going to go with this because today is the least busy day in sports on the entire sports calendar. Maybe it's all open picks. We'll see. Coming up next, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you until 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. John and Jim out in Las Vegas for Mountain West Media Days as we get ready for the Aztecs football season, which is coming up in like 37 days or something like that. San Diego FC is back on the pitch Saturday night. They got Vancouver Whitecaps at Snapdragon Stadium. You can hear the match live Saturday night starting at 7 right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home of SDFC. Rough loss for the boys last night, 1-0 out on the pitch at Snapdragon Stadium. Kind of obviously they're almost trying to get their footing again after Milan Olaski, who's been the most productive offensive piece over the last month now. And so kind of tough seeing them not really have it all together offensively last night, but they'll get back on track. This Saturday they got Vancouver at Snapdragon Stadium. Back-to-back games against Canadians. Crazy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer last night. I watched that game and the offense seemed like a little bit of a slog, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can get the offense back on track because it's kind of a bummer. Obviously Olaski was scoring a bunch of goals when they were kind of on that little tear a month ago. But
10 goals, 14 10 goals in 14 matches.
Yeah, I mean it's like because at the beginning of the season that was the problem. They were winning, but it was very kind of narrow games. It was 1-0. Look at my soccer talk.
Attaboy.
1-0 and or 2-0, something like that. But yeah, listen, first game back, but they are still at the top of the Western Conference, so hopefully they get it going.
Well, they'll be back this Saturday. You can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, Sammy, I don't know what the hell we're going to do today.
Yeah, okay, so I put my long shots together every time before because I want to put faith in, I want to win you guys money. And I was going to do, I was like, oh, PGAs today. Like, this is good. But the problem is everyone started playing in the PGA at this point.
Yeah, it started at like 3 a.m. this morning.
So I don't like.
Potentially, we could do people who are teeing off this morning at 3 a.m. or tomorrow morning.
Well,
at
yeah,
3
but so should we move long shots to 145 to see if the lines come out?
Maybe we should. That's not a bad idea.
This is, God, we need football.
We do need football.
This is like we don't have baseball. We don't have anything tonight.
Well, we're about 56 days away from the NFL. I was also looking to see if we could do NFL season-long entries. I don't think we can.
We have we can do we
can do lacrosse.
Yeah. I'm not telling people to put their hard-earned money on lacrosse.
Or darts.
Lock in on some summer league action tonight.
Canadian Football League.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about that. You see, I'm trying to give people winners.
This could be a $5 wild guesser. I could even take over for you if you want.
We could
do some darts.
I have a summer league parlay right now.
Canada football, lacrosse,
here's the shame,
cricket.
The shame is that tomorrow we're gonna have an amazing long shots because we have big boxing matches over the weekend, big UFC fights, PGA. So we're gonna have a lot to get into tomorrow. We have baseball back, so there's a lot going on there. What do we even do with ourselves tonight?
Give you a movie recommendation if you want.
I'm going to see Superman tonight.
Good. My brother went yesterday. He loved it. I really liked it. There's a lot of reviews that are coming out on either side of this thing. It seems like people either love it or they hate it. I wouldn't even say I loved it. I really, really liked it. It was very different. Have you seen the Zack Snyder Supermans?
Yeah.
So Man of Steel and then Batman versus Superman. I thought they were both fun. They both felt huge, but I didn't really like the movies.
Yeah, Batman versus Superman was like an event to go see.
And it was crazy. There were crazy fight sequences. When they actually fought each other, I thought it was awesome, but I didn't really love the movie that much.
I'm just still thinking about the fact that we have nothing to bet on tonight.
You know what? We're doing it. Hit the button, Sammy. We're going to put something together right now.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's Long Shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
We're doing darts.
Dude, no, we're not doing darts.
It'll make it fun.
No. Tyler said he's sweating Tony Finau's over-under right now at 73.5 strokes. I appreciate that. See, Tyler was smart and got his picks in this morning.
There's a dude named Luke Humphreys in darts who we could go 5.5.
No, we're not doing a darts.
180s.
I'm not watching darts.
Come on.
That's like you're sitting at a bar and I want to play darts. I don't want to go. You want a summer league parlay? I got a summer league parlay.
Let's go.
Okay. Caleb Love, Portland playing Houston tonight, 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Caleb Love, fantastic player. Started his career at North Carolina, went to Arizona. In Portland's all about young talent. So Caleb Love actually during this season might actually get some run, even though he wasn't a super high draft pick, because it's not like Portland's an absolute dumpster fire and are kind of trying to go with the Oklahoma City model, get a bunch of picks, trade everyone away, i.e. letting Ayton go to the Lakers, getting rid of basically all the talent on their team because it's a complete rebuild up there in the Northwest. But tonight, Portland, Caleb Love, 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists, more than against Houston. Then we're going Charlotte playing San Antonio. Con Knipple, 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists, more than.
He was blacklisted at one point.
No, he hit, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were at the SDFC game.
Con Knupple's been very, very kind to long shots. Con Knipple, more than 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Think he's going to get this. San Antonio is kind of a fun summer league team. They got a lot of young talent on that roster. Dylan Harper, sure he's going to want to show him out because everyone's talking about Dylan Harper now that Cooper Flag's out. And BJ Edgecombe did not play last night in our long shots. Unfortunately, Anders Dreyer did not get us a goal, so we did not hit, even though Paige Becker's hit her over. But Con Knupple's going to get it for us tonight. 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists, more than.
How do you say his name?
Con Knuppel.
Sure it's not Knuppel?
Knuppel? Trying to get me canceled over here.
I'm just saying how it's spelled. Like, it seems kind of crazy.
And I have one more pick that Fletch is going to get upset at. But Bronny James, more than 12.5 points, and I actually have reasoning for this. Dalton Connect has actually been surprisingly struggling in the summer league. This was the guy that everyone thought for the Lakers would like a second-year player. Usually see second-year players dominate in the summer league. Thought that they would kind of pop off. He hasn't been. He had one game where he had like 30 points. Besides that, he hasn't been very good. Bronny's actually quietly been having a pretty good summer league, scoring a lot more, being a lot more efficient around the rim. I think 12.5 points. They're trying to market this as Lakers Celtics tonight, like a big-time matchup. But, hey, give you something, throw a little money on. This is a quick hitter, $5, $10 parlay. But so Bronny, more than 12.5 points. Con Knipple, more than 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Caleb Love, more than 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Please, football, dear God, get here soon because we miss you.
Baseball's back tomorrow.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of fun today watching the Open.
Well, the Open, yeah, but I just wish we could bet on it. Price Picks needs to get on their lines a little bit. Be fast on this. They're a big company.
Well, we got the entire state of California going after them and DraftKings and FanDuel. It's crazy right now.
Yeah.
These streets are rough.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
Yeah, you're dodging bullets every day, dude. It's kind of tough out here. Text your congressman, all right? Save these things.
Imagine if we got to do money line plays.
What was that dude who we were throwing on blast the other day? The GA or the...
Oh, yeah, the Attorney General?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's his name?
Ron
something.
Banta?
Yeah.
That's not right.
I think it was like Banta or something.
Something like that.
Let us gamble, Ron.
Text him.
God, stop being so selfish.
San Diego Sports 760. We got hour number 2 coming up next. Coach Kentera is going to jump on the show. I want to get Coach's thoughts on what's happening December 1st, 2026, and see how he thinks this thing's going to shake out. Because the whole salary cap thing in Major League Baseball, you got owners crying poverty. I don't know if I buy it, man. We're going to get into it in hour number 2. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Open right now, McIlroy is currently -1, sitting at 20. Scheffler's -3 at 6, and Matt Fitzpatrick is tied at the top for -4. And some big news out of the NFL. Chiefs star wide receiver Rashee Rice sentenced to 30 days of jail time, 5 years probation. The NFL will be taking action here soon. And Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams retires. He ends his 8-year career. This comes after he signed a few months ago to be wide receiver 2 behind Ladd McConkey. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Plenty to get to here on the least busy day in the sports calendar. We got nothing coming up tonight. The Open is going on right now at Royal Port Brush. Good day of golf so far. It has been hectic, chaotic, and people are having a real tough time with some of the rough around Royal Port Rush. I saw it talked about earlier today. If you're not hitting the fairway, you are in danger of double bogey on pretty much every single hole, and we've seen that play out so far. Bryson DeChambeau straight up missing a ball earlier today that was buried in the rough, and then the second time he took a swing at it, the ball rolled about 2 yards down the same hill that he was already on. So pros are struggling, which is always fun to watch. We'll see how the leaderboard does over the next couple of days. Scotty Scheffler 3 under, Phil Mickelson 1 under. So there are some big names near the top of the leaderboard. It is San Diego Sports 760 every single Thursday. Sammy and myself, we chat with the coach, Coach Kentera. He's coming
Coach
up
K.
at 1:30 today. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we sure do appreciate it. My name is Ben Fletcher. I've been on this station in whatever form it's existed for the last 6.5 years now. Sammy joining us about 1.5 years ago. We love having Sammy here. And Sammy and I have been holding down this time slot for almost a year now. We're going to be out in Vegas coming up in a few weeks, getting ready for the start of the NFL season with Sammy's friends over at Circa. We're throwing some big time money down on the line for
we're doing it all.
Survivor.
Circa Million, Circa Survivor. That's the two things to play. We're gonna be entering in both contests. We're gonna be at the pool at Circa Sportsbook. We're gonna be having a blast.
And then in about a year, at the end of the NFL season, Sammy and I are gonna be too rich.
Yeah, we're gonna be going back to Circa because why would you stay anywhere else? And then we're gonna be collecting our winnings.
$7.5 million each. That don't sound bad.
So I had an idea to get all of our listeners to call in and put up 100 each to do Circa Survivor.
Whoa, dude. I don't think that's legal.
No, and then that's what I was about to get to. Unfortunately, our program director said that that's not legal. But hey, some side stuff, just let us know.
You make it seem like it's her fault that it's not legal.
No, it's not her fault. I'm just saying. I just want all the listeners to know I was thinking about you.
He was.
What did we say? Squad ride W's. We all win. It's not one person wins. We all win.
I mean, I guess if you happen to be in Vegas at the same time as Sammy,
and if you want to come say hi, or if you want to DM us and listen,
we'll throw some money on the blackjack table with you.
Exactly.
Can't wait for it. Sammy's going to teach me how to play craps.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't know how to play craps.
I have played craps a lot in my life. I've won a lot of money playing craps, but I always just do whatever my friends do.
My last Vegas trip, I usually go craps, blackjack. I actually didn't play any blackjack. I just played craps the entire time.
I'll tell you, Circa might not want to see me coming because last time I was there, I walked away with like $1,500 from the blackjack table.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know Pie Gal?
Love Pie Gal.
I need you to teach me Pie Gal.
It's the drink for free game.
Yeah.
Because you're just pushing the whole time. You're not really winning. You're not really losing.
You know, I was a little frustrated with. I was at
I think it's got like a 49. It's like 49.9% push rate. It's crazy.
It's like the best odds for you in the casino, right?
Well, no, you're not winning anything, so it's not great odds, but you're also not losing anything. Over time, you sit there for a few hours, you're probably going to be losing. But over time, you're going to lose a little bit, not a lot of it.
You know, because the cheat code in Vegas is to go sit at the bar with the video poker and then just play that because you get free drinks while you're doing it. But last time I was there, they upped it everywhere. The place I was at upped it, and so now you had to be playing like $1 every hand. So you couldn't really get 2 drinks. Like my buddy got yelled at for not playing enough trying to order a drink.
Do they give free drinks with that?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
No, if I'm sitting at a bar playing on one of those machines, I've always had to pay for my drinks.
No, what are you talking about?
That's crazy.
No, you always go sit at the bar, put $20 in video poker.
Dude, my brother and I did that while we were watching USA France. That was last year, right? Last summer.
Where was this at?
We would have been at Planet Hollywood. That's where we were staying.
That damn Planet Hollywood, man.
Yeah, the pleasure pit's right there at Planet Hollywood.
The pleasure pit.
That's what they call that row of blackjack tables. It's crazy. But yeah, we paid a lot of money for just a few drinks.
No. You got to go sit at the thing, and then you get free drinks.
All right, well, we got plenty to go here in the show today. Obviously, no sports on tonight. There is the Open on right now. We're watching it here in studio, so it's been distracted radio all show long. Coach Kentera coming up at 1:30. Right now, we do a little something called the Big Three of hour number 2, where Sammy Long takes us through the top stories in the world of sports, so you can leave your lunch break and go tell everybody everything you learned from the smartest guy I know, Sammy Long. Sammy, smash the button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Tomorrow we get baseball back. That's nice.
I need some baseball back in my life.
We need something.
This is a little sports adjacent, but this just happened, so you might be hearing it for the first time here on the show.
The CEO cheater.
No, but we can get to that as well. That happened last night.
That's the biggest story in the world right now.
Barstool Sports partnering with Fox Sports. We have Fox Sports Radio on here on the weekend. So Dave Portnoy, El Presidente, will be joining Big Noon Kickoff. They will also be hosting a 2-hour show during the day. We don't know who that's going to be. It's going to be Big Cat. What are we doing there? But are you excited about Barstool being a part of Fox?
I'm proud of Barstool. This is cool, man. This is like Dave Portnoy really is living out the dream. Yeah, have you seen the history of Dave Portnoy at all? How he started Barstool?
Yeah, he had like nothing.
He had nothing. He was literally handing out gambling newspapers in the subways in Boston. And he was just walking around handing them out. And he wrote all the articles on every single piece of newspaper himself under different names. It was just handing these out. And then eventually got to the point where he could sell advertisements on those little leaflets that he was handing out that were gambling leaflets. And then he moves it to the point where he adds a guy and his name is Big Cat. And then he finds Caleb Presley. And then he finds PFT. And then eventually this just becomes its own wild breathing organism that really was propped up on Call Her Daddy for a little bit with Alex Cooper, making them a ton of money. She leaves, pivots once again. Remember, it got sold to whatever that company was, Penn, I think, for a little bit. And then Penn crashed it. And Barstool went through a couple of rough years. And then Portnoy bought it back for $1 and has built it up and turned it into this content company. And now finally they strike a deal with Fox Sports. This is crazy. This is huge. And so Dave Portnoy, I don't know that he's the best choice of all the employees at Barstool to be a part of Big Noon Kickoff, but it's going to be good. Barstool hasn't done much bad over the last couple of years. So Congratulations to both Fox Sports, who we do a lot with, and to Barstool Sports, who obviously is just getting bigger and bigger as the days go on. Yeah, Barstool is really kind of inspirational because he was just smart. He combined comedy and sports and took that and just betting. Heavy lean on betting. Yeah, he really was the first like major person in the media to talk about betting. That was really kind of taboo before. All the major networks, ESPN, all them kind of stayed away from it. They didn't want to be. And now every NFL broadcast you watch, they open with they put live betting lines on the. I mean, like what's the UFL? The UFL, they have like the live betting odds during the game. Scott Hansen on Sunday Ticket, half of what he's talking about are overs and unders. Yeah, Fox kind of did it early. I remember they had like Jimmy Kimmel and his cousin Sal. They used to do those bits where they'd have him do picks and everything. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm curious though to the first time that Dave Portnoy drops like an F-bomb on Big Noon Kickoff, and like that's gonna be an over-under of how many weeks that takes. How long before all radio and all TV is just do whatever you want? Because like Pat McAfee on ESPN, he's cursing all the time. They seem to be okay with just eating some fines. Yeah, that would be great. When's the FCC just going to get out of our business, we were just cussing left and right? Yeah. Okay, story number 2. Let's hit the Padres. Bleacher Report today did a power rankings as we start up again here after the All-Star break. Tell me they downed the Dodgers a little bit. No, they did. They dropped the Dodgers. Yeah. I'm sure. I don't know where I didn't see where they're at because I stopped where the Padres were, but they were one of the fallers. They deserved to fall. Did the Red Sox fly up? They had like a 10-game winning streak. Yeah, Red Sox, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Dodgers actually, they lost 9 straight before they won 2 at the end. The Dodgers have been struggling recently. Padres put it 13 though. Said desperately holding on that final wild card spot. The concern is the bats. They said that putting up, I believe the Padres put up 6 runs in that 4-game series against the Diamondbacks. I got to go check that, but I believe it was 6. Do you think that's fair? Too low? Too high? Just right? They feel like a middling team to me, or just over middle. They obviously have the talent to be better, but this is the conversation we had yesterday, Sammy, when you asked me to put a letter grade on the first half of the season, and it was a little more than the first half, but I said B. And how could you give him anything more than that? It's like you look at the record, that's great. But you watch the team since they started off 14-3, and you don't feel like it's a B team. So the record is great, but are the Padres great? I don't think the answer is yes. 13 feels about right to me.
Yeah, I feel like that's because they're a little bit better than 50. Like they're such an odd team in the teens because they're just not consistent. But I think if you did a power rankings of teams that could cause trouble for people in the playoffs, they would be higher because this is a team that has talent as evidenced by the amount of all-stars that went to the game. But yeah, it's just, I'm excited to see them up again. You know, you think would get a break theoretically playing Washington, but the Washington certainly played the Padres good when they came to town.
Yeah, James Wood is not going 0 for 9 in this series. I promise you that.
I'm excited for the Padres starting up tomorrow because this is like it starts getting legit. Because there's no more it's early. There's no more down the road. No, they need to start winning games. They're in the final wild card spot. Everyone's right behind them and kind of right in front of them. It's an absolute logjam. So a bad series, a bad week is not, hey, we'll see you in June and July anymore. That's like it's bad. Hopefully the Padres, the rest was a little bit nice, especially considering how the four horsemen, as Mike Schilt likes to call them, of Estrada, Morejon, Adam, and Suarez got a little rest over the week. But so I'm excited to see him tomorrow. Hopefully they got a new little rotation. Darvish up in his pitch count.
How about this? A little more eloquent response to this. If you were to power rank the bullpen, I would say it's a top 5 team in baseball because the bullpen's been carrying the Padres so far this year, even though there has been a couple of traps. If you were to power rank the offense, I say it might be a bottom 10 offense in all of baseball. Therefore, you kind of mull everything over. 13 feels like you stick them right around the middle. That's right.
The bullpen's weird because, again, if it's the four horsemen pitching, as Mike Schilt says, it's an elite bullpen that certainly is top 5. I think the Padres lack some depth there. And I think we've seen when Estrada's gotten struggled a little bit. Like the first month of the season, those 4 guys were all fantastic. There was not a single one that was faltering. Then Estrada started to falter a little bit. Adam had a couple rough weeks there, and the bullpen started to crack a little bit. But that happens to every baseball team. The Dodgers bullpen's been shredded at times this year. So Padres excited to see him back tomorrow.
Yeah, one more we can squeeze in?
Yes. So Phil Mickelson is currently, I believe he's 20th right now in the Open.
1 under par.
1 under par.
Leaders are at 4 under.
Manny Pacquiao is 46 years old. Will be fighting Mario Barrios this weekend, Saturday night in Las Vegas, to try to capture the welterweight world championship against a really good puncher. What would be more impressive? Phil Mickelson winning the Open this week or Manny Pacquiao winning and recapturing being the oldest welterweight champion of all time?
Well, here's the thing. Manny Pacquiao could win with 1 punch. Phil's having to 1 punch 60 other people. So I would have to say Phil, who hasn't been competitive in a major like this in a long, long time. Manny Pacquiao, he could get lucky in the first round and catch someone clean. You know what I mean? I don't really know. Who's he fighting?
Mario Barrios. He fought Tank. He's a pretty good fighter. He's just kind of unknown.
Like, what's Barrios' strength? Because
he's got a lot of power.
Manny's been the knockout guy his whole career. So he could get lucky right away, right? Phil, it's not going to be luck if he goes out and wins the Open. It is going to be grueling 4 days of golf on an older man's body who he's going to have to beat the best in the world.
Yeah, Phil would be that's a good point about how it's over the whole week. We've seen countless times in major golf tournaments about how Freddie Couples, remember at the US Open it was the US Open, the Masters had a really nice first day. It's just the body breaks down. It would be pretty trippy to see Phil if he was somewhat in contention on Sunday. Again, super early, first day. So we'll see.
Unfortunately, Phil's not going to be, and we could very easily see Manny Pacquiao knock this dude out.
Now, Manny's a plus 230 dog. Barrios is a good fighter. He was actually beating Tank when he fought Tank until Tank absolutely put his lights out. Go look up that highlight reel to KO. That was lethal. But, I'm
right there. You just said plus 230?
Yeah.
That's not a crazy long shot. Phil, I bet you right now, if you were to look, I don't know what the number is. I bet you it's plus 750 or higher.
Like, I'm curious to see we'll see how Phil holds up over the weekend. Pacquiao, how does he fight in later rounds? Because it's probably going to be jacked up early. The last thing to go in fighters is power. People have power. George Foreman, when he was still alive, rest in peace, was 74 years old and was ripping a bag in a gym that was just destroying it. The thing is his speed. The last time he was out at 42, Ugas, he looked pretty slow. So we'll see if Manny still has it. I just hope Manny doesn't get, because this is a real fight. This isn't a gimmick fight. This isn't like, the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing. Barrios is going to try to put him out. And I hope that Manny doesn't get knocked out where he's laying on the canvas, and it's kind of the lasting image we have of Manny Pacquiao.
We have done the East of both the AFC and the NFC. We have done the West of both the AFC and the NFC. It's time for the North. We are going AFC North coming up next. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. Most fascinating storylines. Who we think's going to win it? You're going to hear it coming up next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
You know, Fletch and all our listeners, I've been telling you on these reads that I have my picks locked in for circa million. Circa millions would pick 5 games against the spread each week all season long, and you have a chance to win millions and millions of dollars in prizes. But, I've been looking at these lines while Fletch and I get ready for our AFC North NFC North preview, and I don't know if I'm locked in. See, I mean, we know my Chiefs are going to cover 2.5 in Brazil against the Chargers. I feel like that's a lock. I like the Cardinals, maybe 5.5 on the road against the Saints. I don't agree with the Saints quarterback situation. Kind of feel like the Jets +3 at home against the Steelers playing Pittsburgh. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is locked in for that game. That's just me personally. I don't know how you all feel. 49ers Seahawks. Do we believe with Fletch? Do we think Brock Purdy is going to come through on the road favored by 1.5? Fletch is giving me a side eye. I think he thinks yes. And maybe the Lions, underdogs in Green Bay favored by 1.5. I don't know. You don't have to agree with my picks. You do whatever you want. But all you got to do is pick 5 games against the spread each week, all season long. You win millions of dollars in prizes. But here's the other thing. If you're like, that sounds exhausting. I don't have the time to picking 5 games each week. You can play Circus Survivor. You pick one game each week. All you got to do is outlast competition. You can go 20-0 or outlast everybody else. And then if your friend sells it, you can go, it's $1,000 entry. You can put the 1,000 yourself. You can get 10 friends, do $100 each. And if they sell it, maybe they got to do a punishment. I don't know. If they ruin your money for you, then you get to make fun of them for the rest of the year. So personally, that's something I'm into. You sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere, gives an excuse to plan a summer Vegas trip, and provides season-long fun all throughout the NFL season. The best part about it is while you're signing up, you get to relax in the Circus Sportsbook with wall-to-wall TVs outside in the pool with a cocktail in your hand, showing off that summer bod you've been working on for the last few months. Play Circa, win money now.
San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances today for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportsSD.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 2 right here on San Diego Sports 760. You'll hear it right before you hear John and Jim today. So 2 o'clock today, your next chance to win $1,000 on San Diego Sports 760.
Fletch, we have breaking news out of the AFC North.
Give it to me. What we got?
TJ Watt, highest paid non-quarterback of all time, just came down per Ian Rappaport. Trying to get the numbers for you right now, but
this works nicely. We were just about to talk about the AFC North.
Look at them looking out for us.
So yeah, as of 119, Adam Schefter has the tweet. And Sammy, why don't you get those NFL horns ready for us? We're going to need them in just a second. But Adam Schefter, the Steelers' blockbuster offseason is now complete. One that included making TJ Watt the NFL's highest paid pass rusher, signing Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback, trading for DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, and Jonnu Smith, while trading away Minka Fitzpatrick and George Pickens and adding veterans like Darius Slay. The Pittsburgh Steelers may have had the most entertaining offseason of any team in all of the NFL. And we're going to get right into it because the AFC North is coming up in a big way. And nicely done. Good timing. And if they didn't sign TJ Watt, I would not feel very good about the Steelers' chances heading into this season. But now that they have, I feel like we got a complete picture of the conference. So in the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to start this off by asking a very open-ended question. Baltimore Ravens or the field for the AFC North? Sammy Long, we'll start with you.
Ooh. That's tough. I know you asked me this a few minutes ago, but I keep going back and forth. I'd probably go Ravens, but I wouldn't really feel comfortable making that bet because take the Browns out of it. Every team in the division feels good. Like the Bengals have the top end talent. The Bengals are going to be that team that are going to drop 40 on everyone every game, and they may beat some really good teams because they have the potential to do that. But then again, the defense is a mess, and the Steelers feel very complete to me, but I'd probably go Baltimore. I think Baltimore probably is the biggest challenge of Kansas City in the AFC this year.
So a year ago, the Baltimore Ravens won 12 games. They did win the division. Steelers had 10 games. They came in second. Bengals 9. Cleveland Browns 3. I think we can all agree that the last place team this year is probably going to be the Cleveland Browns once again, because they really, what have they done to address the problems? They've drafted Shedeur Sanders. They've drafted Dylan Gabriel, but most likely Joe Flacco is going to be their starter going into week 1. What was it this offseason that they re-signed Myles Garrett to that massive contract? He's the best player on the field for the Browns, and they don't have much more after that. So the Cleveland Browns, I think we're all pretty comfortable with them being in last. The question I have, is there a shakeup at number 2? Have the Cincinnati Bengals done enough this offseason to leapfrog over the Steelers this year, to leapfrog over Mike Tomlin and the most consistent team in the NFL getting at 10 wins? I'm going to say no. Like, what did the Bengals actually do this offseason? The answer is nothing. Trey Hendrickson not signed yet, the NFL sack leader for the last couple of years. The Bengals needed to address this defense in a big way, and they added a couple pieces through the draft, but they have not done enough to make a big move to bring someone in to help this defense along. I got to be honest, Zach Taylor is my number 1 coach on the hot seat heading into this season.
Yeah, the Bengals proved to all of us why. I don't know. They're a team, again, if they get in the playoffs, they're hell for anyone. That includes the
because
Chiefs,
they can put up 40 points any day.
They can beat anyone because they have that kind of ability to score with anyone. I think the problem with them, though, is this is where you see the great organizations separate and the bad organizations. You sign T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I understand you signing Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow's friend. He's an all-time great receiver. He's fantastic. Was T. Higgins really necessary at the expense of the defense? The defense was a disaster. It was a historically bad defense halfway through the year. And T. Higgins, I pointed this out earlier, Fletch, Yoshi Voss had a really nice kind of underrated season at the 3 spot. No. Was he T. Higgins? No. But they obviously not a developed talent at the receiver spot. It felt like you were in for the same thing. I'm assuming a 9-7 season, 9-8, 10-win season. I think you're hanging right around there. The Ravens are by far the most complete team in the division. With a caveat, Pittsburgh is just as complete as them. They just one team has Lamar Jackson, one has Aaron Rodgers. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have dealt with horrible quarterback play the last few years. So Aaron Rodgers, even though I'm not high on him, is better than Mason Rudolph. He's better than what they've had. He's better than Kenny Pickett. So maybe they are competing with them down the stretch here. I think it's a tight division, but at the end of the day, I do think Baltimore is just the most complete team in it.
Probably. The Steelers have the best shot to unseat them, I would think, with the additions they made, but it's going to all depend on Aaron Rodgers.
I'm surprised. So the betting odds, Ravens minus 150, Bengals plus 250, Steelers plus 500, and Browns plus 3,100. I'm surprised the Steelers are behind.
Plus 500 don't sound too bad to me.
Now, if we're talking value bets, I would take them because I'm surprised they're behind the Bengals. I feel like we're still living on in the fact that the Bengals, that 2021 team that beat the Chiefs and got to the Super Bowl, we're still holding on to that, and this team is very different. Like, I was watching quarterback last night, and they're following Joe Burrow around. Joe Burrow's not the problem. Joe Burrow's a fantastic player. The offense is there, but the offensive line's not where it needs to be, and the defense. If Shamar Stewart and Trey Anderson don't show up, this pass rush is going to be the worst in the NFL.
We need to see what happens with the defense. Obviously, we need to see. Probably the Bengals are one of the rare teams in the NFL where we're actually going to learn something from the preseason games, because we need to see if their defense has gotten any better. And until we know that, we can expect the offense to score 35 plus points a game. But what's that going to do when your defense can't stop anybody? I think it's one of the more fascinating divisions going into the year. I really do. Mainly because of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, if Aaron Rodgers can turn back the clock a little bit, and he did have numbers last year, he just didn't have wins to back him up. If Aaron Rodgers looks good with the Steelers could be a serious problem because they do have that pass rush. They got a great defense, and they maybe have the best head coach in the entire NFL. So we'll see. Could be a fun one in the AFC North this year. I'm not totally convinced that the Ravens are just going to walk away with it, because really, what have they done this offseason? The answer is not much, but they did have such a good team a year ago. All right, Coach Kentera is going to join the show coming up next. We're going to talk some pods with the coach and talk about really the general overall feel of Major League Baseball as we head into a couple of years of uncertainty. That's coming up next at San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Payday. Padres will be back tomorrow in Washington. Game will be going at 3:45. Padres 8 games over 500. Dylan Cease is the starter going for the Pods, while Michael Soroka will be going for the Nationals. And big news out of the NFL today. Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams retires after being with the Chargers formerly, then with the Jets, and then with the Steelers today. And Chief star wide receiver Rashee Rice sentenced to 30 days of jail time, 5 years probation. The NFL will be taking disciplinary action soon. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through your day. Payday peanut caramel bar. Get to it.
San Diego Sports 760. If it's your first time joining us, my name is Ben Fletcher. That is Sammy Long. And I do think that we kind of pride ourselves here on this show of trying to bring the best and great voices in sports radio from across the country, and especially here in San Diego, on as often as we possibly can. We had Petros Papadakis on yesterday. That was great. Steve Hartman joins us once a week. But easily my favorite chat of the week comes on Thursdays at 1:30 when we get to chat with Coach Kentera, who obviously spent decades on the air here in San Diego. You can find him these days on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk. The coach is kind enough to join us every single week. Coach, how we doing this week?
Oh, Fletch, doing great. Getting a little bit of R&R with Padres being off, and they'll kick it off again tomorrow night. But I got to tell you, this is a fun time of year, man. We're not too far away from college football and pro football. Of course, Del Mar opens up tomorrow, big opening day on a Friday, which is always kind of fun. Then we got a soccer game coming up this weekend. Tough loss last night, but a lot of good things going on right now in San Diego and really nationally in the sports world.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. And look, let's start here because I do want to get into kind of where baseball is heading over the next couple of years, obviously with the current collective bargaining agreement terminating on December 1st of 2026. But I did want to start with the All-Star game and get your thoughts on it because I was really disappointed in the home run derby. I thought it lacked any sort of showmanship or a bigness, for lack of a better term. The All-Star game, on the other hand, I thought was fantastic. The Hank Aaron tribute at the end of the 6th inning, the swing off, I thought was really fun. And I thought that they really nailed it with the All-Star game. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. As far as the home run derby, I'm a baseball guy. I mean, I love hearing baseball talk, and that's why I look forward to the home run derby because you hear a lot of, trade rumors at that time of year. But, it's just a little bit too long for me. And you didn't really, I realize everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. It's all about marketing and social media, but, you didn't really have a lot of the name guys in there. I mean, Junior Caminero is a heck of a player. We're going to know more and more about him, but he plays for Tampa Bay, and, they're not exactly a team we see every Sunday night on Sunday Night Baseball, but, it was good for him and good for some of the guys that are trying to, get themselves established, but, you're not going to have the Aaron Judges, the Ohtanis. It'd have been nice to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. back in there. I kind of miss seeing Pete Alonso doing his deadlifts, trying to get loosened up to hit a home run. But you know what? It is what it is. I think they've got to make some changes maybe. I think this goes a little bit too long, and I think it loses a little bit of its luster. As far as the game itself, I think, Fletch and Sammy, when I grew up, this game really, it was a big bragging rights type game. I mean, you had league presidents, you had an American League president, you had a National League president, you had a baseball commissioner, and, each league president, he wanted to win. He wanted to have bragging rights. Players wanted to have bragging rights. Pitchers normally went 3 innings, not 1 inning, and doff their cap to the crowd, and they're done, and they're going to take a shower, and they're in their dress clothes for the final 6 or 7 innings. It's just a different game, and I think all of us old baseball purists, we got to realize that it's a different game. It's about marketing. It's about entertainment. And obviously it's about a lot of money. And, guys don't want to get hurt. Ultimately, the swing off, first of all, I got to give Kyle Schwarber a heck of a lot of credit. I mean, that was an impressive performance by him with a lot of pressure on. I thought he did an outstanding job. And I can only imagine the pressure those hitters felt going up there with the world looking at him. But wouldn't it have been nice if you'd had Ohtani in that contest along with Aaron Judge? But you couldn't ask those guys to come back out. I mean, they'd already been out of the game, cooled down, and you can't risk an injury. But I think next year it might be a little bit different. Even the other night, Eugenio Flores was supposed to be one of the guys hitting for the National League, probably going to hit in Kyle Stowers' spot, but he ended up getting hit, and he stayed in the game, and made a great play, by the way, the following half inning. But they didn't want to risk him swinging the bat up there at that point in time. But all in all, I think if you just looked at it for an entertainment, a lot of fun, it was a great ball game. If you're an old style guy, you probably didn't like the way it ended.
Coach, so Padres currently sitting in that last NL wildcard spot, half game up on the Giants, 1.5 on St. Louis, and 2.5 on Cincinnati. What if the Padres make the playoffs and we're sitting here talking about them in the postseason? What's the number one thing that's going to have changed from the first half?
Well, I think Dylan Cease is going to have to get better, but I got to be honest with you, I don't see it. He was inconsistent last year. He's 3-9 right now. It's kind of the same old. I'm not convinced he's going to get this thing turned around right now. I don't know what his mindset is. I would think his mindset is, I want to pitch better, but am I going to be traded by July 31st? This is a tough time of year for everybody involved when you got to come into that clubhouse every day, because all these players, they've had more time on their hands here the last 3 or 4 days, as long as their wives and kids around them. They can't play on the internet and hunt around baseball rumors. But I got to tell you, every ball player, they'll say, well, I don't read the paper, I don't listen to talk shows. Well, how do they know everything that's going on? Okay. And this time of year, with all the rumors flying around, this guy going here, the Padres are looking to do this, or looking to bring in a catcher. You don't think those catchers are scurrying around, or their agents are giving them information on what they're hearing? So it's tough for the players. It's tough for the manager, because he's got to navigate this. It could be tough for the general manager, but normally general managers are so busy at this point in time, they don't spend a lot of time in the clubhouse unless they want to come down and maybe put a forest fire out from some rumor out there. And, I do have to compliment the Padres on one thing, aside from, still staying in the hunt. I thought AJ and Chris Kemp, their scouting director, I thought they did really well in the draft. And only time will tell, but I like their first round pick. Schoolcraft, that left-handed pitcher. They had some other, Ryan Weidman, that outfielder, a toolsy guy, got a lot of ability. And they took a couple of catchers that have a pretty good resume to this point of their amateur career. So we'll see where their draft ends up, but I do think they drafted some pretty good guys. But, AJ and his staff are going to be awful busy between now and July 31st. But I think one of the things, Dylan Cease has to get squared away. Hopefully he can. You hope Darvish can continue to make progress, even though his numbers are not good in his first couple of starts. I saw some encouraging things in that second start. We're going to see him in the second game on this road trip, and hopefully he'll be a little bit better. And Jackson Merrill's got to get back to not maybe the star he was a year ago, but he's certainly got to hit with a little bit more power in the second half. Then I think the Padres are going to hang in there. I think if they did absolutely nothing, I do think they can make the playoffs, but I don't know how far they're going to go. I just think there's too many other teams in the National League right now that are better.
Coach, thank you for reminding us, because Sammy and we did forget to say hi to Dylan Cease. We do know that he listens on a daily basis. So what up, Dylan? Hope you're doing well today. It is San Diego Sports 760. We're talking with Coach Kentera. We get to chat with him every single Thursday at 1:30. Love our chats with the coach. Coach, this one's kind of tricky, because we know baseball is heading for the end of the collective bargaining agreement coming up on December 1st of 2026. And you brought up Pete Alonso. Well, he had some quotes that have made some steam this week, talking about how he thinks that the owners are going to lock out the players over the salary cap issue. Now, Rob Manfred's been very careful not to mention the words salary and cap next to one another, but Tony Clark, who's the head of the Baseball Players Association, has said he thinks that's where it's going to. Where do you think the biggest rift is right now between the players and the owners? And do you think that we're going to head for a lengthy lockout come 2026?
Well, I put a tweet out the other day. I think the TV networks better start talking to the Nippon Professional Baseball League, Japanese baseball, for people that are unfamiliar with the name of their pro league. And I think they need to talk to the KBO, because I think 2027, we may get a little bit of a late start unless they start getting on this thing right now. I'm not very encouraged on either side. I do think there needs to be a salary cap in baseball. You've got a salary cap in the other three major sports in the United States. I think it's worked very well. But with that being said, I also think there needs to be a floor as well. There has to be a minimum amount that teams are going to spend. The days of, Colorado or Pittsburgh, just to name a couple of the A's, whether it's the Oakland A's, Sacramento A's, or Las Vegas A's, you got to spend some money. And, if you're going to go over the salary cap, that's fine, but you pay the price. Like the Dodgers. They pay a price. Padres, depending on where they finish up this year, they could be paying a little bit of a tax on that. So I do think there needs to be a salary cap, and if you do go over, you pay the price. But there also needs to be a floor as well. We got to get some of these other teams that are getting TV revenue money from other parts of other teams. They need to spend that money. I look at it. The bottom line, the fans are the ones that end up paying for all these costs anyways. I mean, if they just let these guys go rampant, they're just going to raise the prices. I'm not going to pick on the Padres here, but, you go and take a look at the Padres over the last 4 or 5 years. They've raised their ticket prices about 50%. Well, the fans in San Diego are loyal, but, again, not everybody can afford those type of tickets year in and year out. And the people that can, God bless them, and the people that you'd like to see come to the ballpark with their young children and teach them the great game of baseball, some of them can't come.
Coach, do you think that, I know you mentioned that if they stand pat, the Padres, they still have a shot to make the playoffs. Do you think they're going to do something at the catcher spot? Do you think Maldonado and Diaz, that's going to be going forward? Or do you think they can make a move for someone?
Yeah, Sammy, I've been looking around. I mean, I don't know who's available and not available right now, but I got to tell you, the catching position, if you got a good catcher, you're not going to turn them loose. I mean, catching right now, in my opinion, is at an all-time low for a variety of reasons. A lot of it has to do with the new rules in place. The guys, even with good arms, can't throw guys out because they're not getting much of an opportunity with the way you can't play the cat and mouse game with your pitcher going over there and trying to hold guys a little bit closer. You got the bigger bases. But, as far as offense, I think the Padres are in a situation, and I know Mike Phil will totally 100% disagree with me on this, but as bad as this offense is with the catching, you need to sacrifice a little bit of defense to get a little bit of offense. Now, I don't know if that's going to be Luis Camposano. He's 0 for 21 right now, but those are all as, being a designated hitter. I'd like to see the kid come up, get an opportunity to catch 2, 3, 4 days a week, and for a couple of weeks and see how he does. I think he might get into the flow of the game and feel it. Being a young hitter at the big league level, and he's not young. I mean, he's been up 5 different seasons, I believe, now. But he always feels like he's on a tryout when he comes up. Bring the guy up, make him feel part of the ball club, put him behind the plate, and let's see if he can swing the bat a little bit better, because he has tore it up at AAA, and I realize it's AAA. But when you go back and look at all of his at-bats prior to this year at the big league level for the Padres, he was a 250 hitter. Right now he's 0 for 21. Something's got to change. You either give him an opportunity to catch a little bit, or you better go out and see if you can bring in somebody to, help out one of the catchers you decide to keep. You're not going to get rid of both of these catchers. You're going to get rid of one, but not both. So if you go out and get another catcher, I would prefer getting a left-hand hitting catcher, because you already got 2 right-hand hitters behind the plate, and Camposano's a right-hand hitter. So it'd be nice, but that's in a perfect world, and we're not in a perfect world right now.
Coach, you mentioned earlier talking about the Del Mar racetracks opening up this weekend. Do you like getting out there and throwing some money on some ponies?
Yeah, Fletch. My dad was a pretty big horse player. He owned a couple of bars, and he got to know a lot of the people around the racetrack. So when I was a kid, I spent 2-3 days a week normally going down for, the first to fifth race. Then my dad would have to go home and get cleaned up and go 10 bar down at the Lucchese and down in the north end of Lucchese, where we have our big happy hour party during the holidays that you guys are invited. And everybody listens invited. We do that the first Friday in December. Everybody's invited, and we get a lot of the sports celebrities from around San Diego to come. But no, my dad was really into the racetrack, so I spent a lot of time. I used to go down there and talk to some of the great jockeys of all time: Bill Shoemaker, Jerry Lambert, Don Pierce, So I still enjoy going to the track a great deal. I have a great history with the track, and it's a lot of fun to go down there and kind of relive my youth.
Sounds like we got to go to the track with Coach.
Yeah, Coach is the best life, man. Just going betting on the ponies and going to the bar after.
Hey, Coach,
Well, you know what we have to do, guys, is on those 4:00 starts on Fridays, we got to after you guys close out your show, we'll meet up at the track on a Friday for one of the 4:00 starts, and we'll hang out and have some fun.
Done. We're there, Coach. You just let us know when. Appreciate your time as always, Coach. We'll catch up with you next week. Find him at San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube. Give him a subscription there. He's going live a few times a week. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
All right, boys, keep it rolling. We got to talk about Aztec football here before too long. I'm excited about it. I don't know if anybody else is, but I am.
We're getting excited, Coach. The Mountain West Media Day is happening this week. We're about 38 days away from getting our first real look at these guys. August 28th is the first game. I'm pumped for it.
Well, I saw they got picked to finish 8th. You know what? That's okay. You can sneak up on them.
Yeah, you can. And I'll be doing pregame, halftime, postgame for those this year. Can't wait for it. Thank you, Coach.
All right, boys. Have a good one.
All right, there he goes. Coach Kentera, one of the legends of the game here in San Diego. Looks like we got plans to go out and throw some money on some ponies, and I can't wait to do that with the coach. That'll be a good time. All right, take our final break of the day. When we come back, a story we've been ignoring all day. That is the number one most trending story in all of the world, Sammy Long. How have we gone this long without giving an opinion on it? That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. It's been a fun show today. Big thank yous to Coach Kentera for jumping on at 1:30. How about Rich Ohrnberger showing up late for his 12:30 interview? Showed up around 12:36. That's typical.
You know what the thing about it is that we asked why, and he goes, "I was eating a sandwich."
It's the most Rich thing ever. We still got some good stuff out of the big fella. So if you missed any of it, it's up on the podcast. Now, Sammy, you just brought us in with some Coldplay. The song Yellow.
Would have been my choice, but it's fitting for this.
I'm gonna say this at the out front of this whole conversation. I'm sure most of you know where this is coming if you've been online at all today. Coldplay was one of the coolest concerts I've ever been to in my life.
I've heard they're fantastic.
I don't really like Coldplay's music that much. The song you just played, Yellow, I think is fantastic. But I don't love the band. But my wife kind of dragged me to this concert. It was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen in my life. It was at Snapdragon Stadium. The way they make everything happen, it's a very romantic show. I'll just say that. They do have a kiss cam that goes throughout an audience a couple different times throughout the show. There was even a proposal at the one that I went to where Chris Martin, the lead singer, acted like he was bringing up a random seat onto stage and said, "We got 7A and 7B."
Did you get emotional, Fletch?
I did. It's hard not to. It's a romantic show.
God.
Well, last night at Gillette Stadium in Boston, during the kiss cam, a couple was shown on one of the screens. And it was very cute. They were kind of holding each other. The guy was behind the girl, arms around her. It was an awe moment, Sammy. You nailed it. However, as soon as the kiss cam got onto them, the chick immediately turned around, covered her face, and the guy ducked out of view, like completely went out of camera, like got down like Frogger and scurried away from the camera. Well, the internet did what the internet does. And even Chris Martin on stage was like, oops, that's either extremely awkward or they're having an affair. Bingo, they were having an affair because the internet has now done some research. They figured out that the guy is actually the CEO of this company called Astronomer, which is a $750 million AI company. And the girl was actually his HR manager. So, I mean, at least HR knows that, which is good, I guess. But the fact that this has just completely taken over the internet, taken over sports.
Hola, mommy.
All these drops are working for it. And it's showing the best and the worst of humanity at the same time, I think, because this story pops off immediately.
Dude, this is hilarious. And this guy,
part of me does feel bad for them. Like
who cares about them?
He has just ruined his life. She has just ruined her life. The company is gonna tank. This sucks for them.
484 says Fletch loves middle-aged divorced dad rock.
I said I don't love Coldplay, but I did love that concert.
Yeah.
Part of me feels bad, and part of me is like,
dude, who cares?
Why are you cheating in public?
First off, that guy's an idiot. He's cheating on his girl, which is like, what are you doing to begin with? And then he's holding her in the box, which they know that they show the boxes because they're like, you don't blend in with the crowd.
It is the most guilty anyone has ever looked.
I thought it was the reaction. If you've not seen the video, please go watch. Yeah, as you said, she puts her face in their hands.
There's actually a full video breakdown at 101 KGB on Instagram right now.
And it's the HR lady too.
Yeah, it's the head of HR for the whole company.
Human resources. They're always getting us in trouble. Now look at what they're doing.
Karma is a B. John and Jim are coming up next. They're out in Las Vegas. Hopefully they don't have any problems like this going on out in Las Vegas because it doesn't always stay in Vegas. I'll tell you that much. John and Jim at the Mountain West Media Days coming up next. Hear from Coach Lewis, hear from some of the players for the Aztecs football team right here on San Diego Sports 760. Sammy and I'll see you tomorrow.